Over the course of his dictatorship, Hitler created an inner circle of people with whom he mostly surrounded himself at the Berghof in Obersalzberg. Proximity to Hitler meant power. Many people tried everything to get into the dictator's favor and thereby get into influential positions. Hermann Fegelein married Margaret Gretl Braun, Eva Braun's younger sister, in the middle of 1944, thereby securing a permanent place in Hitler's entourage and even becoming his brother-in-law towards the end of the war. As commander of various mounted units, Fegelein was responsible for the murder of tens of thousands of people and depopulated entire areas of the occupied Eastern Territories. This video is about the crimes of Hermann Fegelein, his rise in the Nazi Empire and his fate towards the end of the war. Hermann Fegelein was 30th, born in October 1906 in the Bavarian city of Ansbach. As the son of a riding instructor, Fegelein learned to ride at a young age and successfully took part in several tournaments. At one of the competitions he met the early NSDAP politician young Fegelein, who brought him into the party's influence and later acted as his benefactor within National Socialist circles. In 1931, before Hitler officially came to power, Fegelein joined the SS and was assigned to the Reiter SS, which was renamed SS Reiterstandarte in mid-1934. The opportunist Fegelein quickly rose through the ranks of the SS and, after Hitler's rise to power, was appointed commander of the SS Reiterstandarte, which he played a key role in building. The Parental Riding School became the official training center for members of the unit in 1937 and was under the command of Heinrich Himmler as the SS main riding school in Munich. Fegelein impressed Himmler with his abilities and became part of his personal staff, reporting only to Himmler himself. At this time, Hermann Fegelein was already involved in the concentration camp system. His cavalry standard was temporarily used to monitor the outside area of the Dachau concentration camp, with the riders wearing the official uniforms of the guards. On September 1, 1939, the Second World War began with the attack on Poland, in which the mounted SS units played an important role. Fegelein's cavalry standards took part in the Battle of Warsaw, where the commander was shot and could only be saved with great difficulty. After Poland's capitulation, the unit was further expanded and used for the targeted murder of political opponents or ethnic groups that were not accepted. Fegelein's unit initially primarily persecuted the Polish elite and was responsible, for example, for the mass shooting of 1,700 people in the Campinos forest west of Warsaw. At this time, Fegelein is said to have enriched himself from the property of the people killed and to have had an illegal relationship at the time with a Polish woman who became pregnant and was forced to have an abortion. Reinhard Heydrich tried several times to take legal action against the commander of the SS Reiterstandarte, but these were personally prevented by Himmler. For the next few months, Fegelein's unit was responsible for fighting partisans. In some cases, entire villages were depopulated and many innocent civilians also lost their lives. The unit sometimes killed without explicit orders and enriched itself from the property of the victims. On June 22, 1941, the Wehrmacht began Operation Barbarossa and invaded the Soviet Union with 3.8 million soldiers. Fegelein's unit operated behind the front and was officially responsible for fighting partisans, although most of the victims were innocent civilians of Jewish origin who were systematically murdered. The riders mainly fought through the Pripyat marshes in what is now Ukraine and Belarus, which were difficult for motorized units to cross. Himmler ordered Fegelein to shoot all Jewish men and boys over the age of 14, while women and children were to be driven into the swamps and drowned there. The area was partially completely depopulated, entire villages were razed to the ground, and historians estimate that more than 20,000 people were killed by Fegelein's unit. After the cleansing operation in the swamps of Pripyat, Fegelein was responsible for various other murders in other areas of the Soviet Union, and by the end of 1941 around 40,000 people had fallen victim to the unit. At the beginning of 1942, Hermann Fegelein was transferred to the Waffen-SS and was involved in fighting on the Eastern Front as a commander of several units. At the end of 1943, he was seriously wounded and hospitalized for several weeks. Heinrich Himmler then appointed Fegelein to the Waffen-SS. A bomb planted by Klaus Schenk Graf von Stauffenberg exploded, but he was found at the other end of the room and was only slightly injured. During his time at headquarters, Fegelein met Eva Braun's sister Greta, and the opportunist saw his chance to gain Hitler's favor through her. Fegelein was considered a womanizer who had many sexual relationships and was not known for committing to a woman. But politically motivated, he and Greta got together and married shortly afterwards on the 3rd of June 1944, with Hitler, Himmler and Martin Bormann personally appearing as witnesses. Hitler hoped that the marriage would give him a plausible reason to invite his girlfriend Eva Braun, who was still a secret at the time, to official events. But many contemporary witnesses reported that Eva and Fegelein's relationship with each other went beyond the normal level and that the two had an affair with each other. In April 1945, the Battle of Berlin raged. Hitler and his government held out in the bunker while fierce fighting raged in the capital, leaving it in ruins. Without Hitler's knowledge, Heinrich Himmler attempted negotiations with the Western Allies, but these were rejected and made public. Hitler raged, removed him from his post and issued an arrest warrant for the former Reichsleiter SS. Since Himmler was elusive to Hitler, who was surrounded in Berlin, Fegelein was brought to the dictator as his deputy and accused of treason. He had previously been found drunk and with a large sum of cash in his apartment, which in this case was interpreted to his disadvantage. Hermann Fegelein was shot by SS men on April 28, 1945, although the execution procedure remains controversial to this day. According to several witness statements, he was personally sentenced to death by Hitler, who thereby acted against the will of Eva Braun. Her sister Greta was heavily pregnant at the time. In another version, Fegelein was merely killed by the dictator, but then shot by one of his subordinates without Hitler's knowledge. Historians describe Hermann Fegelein as an ice-cold opportunist who had no scruples about making a career within the Nazi regime and gained great influence through his proximity to Hitler and Himmler. He was described by contemporary witnesses as one of the most disgusting people in Hitler's inner circle, who was known for excessive drinking, sex affairs, and personal enrichment. Fegelein was a serious war criminal, but never had to answer for the tens of thousands of murders.